What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Video Game Industry Executive Summary. Did I say that right this time?
No.
The
Games industry. GIES, not VIES.
Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the Game Industry Executive Summary. This is Casey. With us today, we have the mythical Manu Rosier. And, of course, as always, the dashing Dave Thier.
Always, I shall remain dashing. I shall be nothing but.
I want to see you dash in your apartment or in your room.
This is what it looks like.
Yep.
Currently dashing.
We're all, for whatever reason, I was looking in the mirror a couple minutes ago. I was like, God damn, I have some gray hair. And then now I'm looking at Manu. He shaved his beard. I was like, dude, you have a lot of gray hair in your face. And then this guy, Dave, you have these glasses. And I was like, did you ever have glasses before? I don't remember you in glasses.
Yeah, it's like if you know the play Waiting for Godot, you know, the next day dawns and everything is the same, but it's a little different. You just can't tell why.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, how have you been doing, by the way?
The Netherlands has declared an epidemic of the flu, so everyone's got the flu. Oh. That's the main thing.
Is everybody at home, or?
Yeah, my daughter's back at school. My wife is sick today, though, so it's cycling through. I haven't done it yet, so probably a matter of time.
Manu, how are things on your side?
Busy. We are full speed ahead working on the PC and console report that we will publish in April, probably.
Is that a free thing that people can consume, or what's that?
Yes, the most popular report in the industry. I'm sure you've read the one from last year. And if not, you should.
I actually should pull up maybe the one from last year.
You've heard about it.
I would always hack it apart into like 4 or 5 articles when it came out.
Yeah.
So busy times. So what is that thing called?
PC and console report.
Let me see if I can bring that up. 2024.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So I guess you just fill in your information and you can get the report sent to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Something cool that happened earlier this week. You guys, and I was supposed to be part of it, but I wasn't. I pulled out. But we published a monthly takeaway. And I want to bring it up. And just part of it is some insights from you, Manu. Obviously, you already did a bigger report with Newzo. But maybe, Dave, can you give us some insight into what you are talking about in your article?
Yeah, I was just talking a little bit about the Switch 2. And, there's a lot I like about the Switch 2, but it is definitely, if you look at that from across the room, it doesn't read Nintendo in the same way that especially the sort of flagship launch model Switch with the neon red and blue did. It's just a little, when you make a premium product, it has a way of ironing it out, of sanding down the rough edges. And obviously, it makes it look nice, and I will buy one because it does look nice. But it's hard not to see a little bit of the Nintendo-ness lost from that, which is, it could be an issue because the thing about Nintendo is the Nintendo market is only Nintendo exists in it. And if you're beginning to look more like a standard handheld PC sort of thing, you're bleeding a little out. And that's sort of one part that concerns me a little bit, especially now that we're seeing this kind of uptick in third-party Steam Decks. And then the other thing is I am worried about the idea of Switch 2 exclusives. Before they announced that, I was not clear if it was going to be if they were going to do that, and it does seem like they are, and that's a tough thing because I think the Switch player base is, for one thing, it's super big. So it will take a long time to transition over. And I do doubt the ability of single exclusives to sell hardware the way that they used to, because live in this sea of entertainment, and it's very easy to do some other thing, and so many people are doing Fortnite and Roblox, and that's it. So those are my concerns with the Switch 2. I want it to succeed. If Mario Kart is not cross-gen, that would be insane. But yeah, I'm worried about those exclusives and how that works.
That's an awesome take, by the way. Thank you so much. I was scrambling trying to find sales on the Switch, and it seems like this is some official numbers directly from Nintendo, where hardware is currently sitting at, for the Switch specifically, 146 million units.
That's a lot. That's a lot of units. A lot of units.
Yep. I mean, I'm not sure, is this correct? Like the DS? Or no, this is just the 3DS, not all DS units. Okay, I thought so.
Yeah, the DS remains their top selling.
Yeah.
Hardware.
And then on the software side, 1.3 billion, which is much higher than the Wii, much higher than the almost 50% increase over the Wii and the DS, which is really interesting to see.
Well, what's the attach rate? Is the attach rate on the Switch lower than that of the Wii?
This is 1, right? Or is this 10? Am I doing the math correctly?
Let's just so 146 divided by 1306.
That's 9 games per console.
Yeah, I guess I should have done that the other way around so I didn't have weird decimals. But so that go down. So is that, what is it with the Wii?
Let me tell you which 9 games they are.
Yeah, wait, just scroll down a sec while you do that.
Scroll down a second.
There we go. There we go. Yep, there we go.
Up. Okay.
The same attach as the Wii.
Yeah, well, it interests me because the narrative of the Wii was always that it had a super low attach rate. So it's interesting to see that it's the same for the Switch, basically.
I think it's actually not great for the Switch, given they have access to a whole library of indie games that are very cheap.
Yeah, definitely.
The case for the Wii, so I think.
And I wonder if we're seeing the free-to-play effect, if people are just bought a Fortnite machine for their kids, and if that doesn't factor into that.
Mm-hmm.
We did speak about that, I believe, last week or a couple of weeks ago, about the amount of trash that is just available.
Yeah, a lot of trash.
And is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't think anyone ever says there's a lot of trash. That's a good thing, unless trash acquisition is somehow a KPI for them.
Yeah, you need a lot of choice among good games, right? Not a lot of choice.
Yeah. Okay, gentlemen, I will move over. So that's the takeaway. We sent it out on Tuesday this week. Just head over to guysweekly.substack.com and you'll be able to read it. And then, of course, we'd appreciate if you subscribe, like, and do all these things. Gentlemen, do you want me to move over to this week's newsletter?
Yes.
Let's go.
Okay. Then on the highlights, number 1 item on the list. Hogwarts Legacy will officially support mods with new update. I was almost thinking I was going to read Hogwarts Legacy 2 is coming out or has been announced. But tell us, what can we learn about this? And also, that's a very weird image, but I assume it's attached to the mods.
You're not sharing your screen.
I will now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're going to see. Going to see a lot of that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's not every day that a AAA game based on an IP is allowing people to actually mod the game.
Especially a children-facing IP.
So it's great, but it could also backdraft if it's not monitored closely enough. But other than that, it's why not, right? What if you have new quests and new content, like playable content?
Yeah, it looked like there was it was done through some kind of specific collaboration with CurseForge, so it's possible that CurseForge is going to keep an eye on it, something like that.
Yeah, I mean they are doing the Fallout way, right? Fallout. There's a lot of mods, so for me, it's just surprised that they don't really own the IP, but they would. It's like tomorrow you would have a Battlefront supporting mods, or like Jedi Fallen Order supporting mods.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the big difference there is Disney versus Warner Brothers. Disney's still feeling pretty good about all their stuff, and Warner Brothers they're like, I think they're willing to be like, all right, let's get as much money out of this giant hit game as we can.
Yeah,
but doesn't like JK still retain like IP? I guess oversight.
Pretty sure WB can make decisions without her. I think she's like involved and talking, but
mm-hmm.
I think that they can make decisions without her.
Yeah, probably would get royalties, but
Mm-hmm.
not really.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because I feel
so
like
it's good. It's good because so many successful games just came out as mods initially, right? The League of Legends, the Dota 2, the Counter Strikes. I'm not saying that this is going to lead to a new type of game, but I think it's always good to have I think it's good when you give a framework to modders, right? I think it's good. Let's hope they don't monetize it, because that's the way, right? They could also decide at some point that the best mods are going to become expansions. Yeah, that's also possible.
Yeah, I feel like we've seen a lot of people try that, but ultimately, the best way to monetize mods is just by continuing to sell retail copies of your games.
Yeah, absolutely. And or just it can simply be seen as an engagement tool for the next game.
Yeah.
That's always good. You're always in the news to show it. Always good.
I'm actually just surprised because I'm very supportive of this type of thing, but I'm very surprised that somebody allowed it with such an IP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it speaks to WB's position more than anything else.
Yeah. And maybe, like you said, there might be a chance that, somebody creates something really cool and you can take it and sell it as a completely separate product. A la if it's Counter-Strike or Dota or another type of franchise. Okay, gentlemen, I'll move over to the next item on the highlights. New in-game content incentives coming to PlayStation games on PC. So what are we really talking about?
They are shifting from the stick to the carrot.
Hmm.
So before you would have to have a PSN account to purchase games on Steam, but right now they are shifting and they say you don't need, but if you have one, you will get extra content for free. So I think they've realized that it causes too much PR trouble, and I mean there are literally hundreds of countries where they are not able to sell the games on PC. So I think I think it's good.
I think so too.
Good strategy.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these, both them and Microsoft is kind of further along in this thought process. But like originally you sell exclusives so that you can sell hardware, so you can have an ecosystem. And I think originally the idea of the PC ports was that they were going to drive more people into the PS5 ecosystem for some reason. Then they realized that actually, hey, you can just sell games to people and they will pay money for them. And that is a viable business strategy,
Yeah, and it's always, do you actually want to make revenue, or do you just try to acquire more player or get more telemetry? But at some point, you don't get anything if initially the player doesn't want to purchase your game, because you're adding friction to his interaction.
Thank you for that analysis, gentlemen. Really good stuff. And I'm happy that they're taking this way. I'll move over to the next item on the news, which is very surprising to me, actually. But maybe you'll let me know why I should not be surprised. So Destiny 2, which I thought was a game like on the way down, but is getting Star Wars gear in latest crossover collaboration. I feel like, and I'll let you take over, but I just can't have what game doesn't have a collaboration these days? I feel like that's the trend now.
Elden Ring.
Apex.
It doesn't need them.
Apex has some, but Apex took 4 years to have a first collaboration. Show the picture, because it's all that matters. Everything else is just words.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool.
This is why you will download Destiny 2 again.
Yeah.
Who needs more here? Like, Destiny 2 needs Star Wars more, or does Star Wars need Destiny 2? Or what should I be learning here?
Destiny needs Star Wars more.
Yes.
Star Wars is not like as strong as they used to be, but Destiny needs Star Wars more.
Yeah. And it's good for Star Wars to occupy this place, right? It's not it's an older audience than Fortnite that they already capture. So I think it's a win-win situation in this case. And they look gorgeous, right?
Yeah.
But one could actually think of, why don't we have a Destiny Star Wars game? That would be super.
Yeah, one issue that you making a loot game out of an IP, especially a Disney IP, is difficult because you need more loot all the time.
Yeah.
And if loot needs to be like approved by the Disney lore masters or whoever it is involved, it's going to really slow that down. You know, you can't have. You could do it, but it will slow it down, and it'll be a headache for all involved.
The Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
I was going to throw in a joke saying that Battlefront 2 had a lot of loot.
Sure did.
Okay, gentlemen. Okay, another question, by the way, on Destiny. Should people care about Destiny, generally speaking?
Yes, because it's still one of the LTS PvE game around.
And it's still got some of the best shooting in the business. No one makes guns like Bungie.
You cannot ignore Destiny if you are looking at the PvE, right? For one Helldivers, this Destiny is still around, and it's still fundamentally, I think, a good game. I don't think you might see that much on Steam, but who knows?
Do we know when this content is coming out? And it seems like it's just, is it skins? Is there like deeper gameplay associated?
Yeah, it's purely skin.
Okay.
Yeah, February the 4th. So not May.
So real soon. Oh.
I mean, this is empty, right? 300,000 concurrent player when they drop a new season or a new content.
That's real nice.
That's only Steam, and we know that on PlayStation it's also an Xbox, still a very popular game. That's the only shooter that's still around.
And the height of these troughs, you always want to look at the height of the troughs to see what the attrition is like, and it's not that bad. It hasn't really. It's gone down over time, but like not precipitously.
Yeah.
And it's not like.
Sorry, go ahead, Manu.
It's not like Helldivers neither, right? There is a story. There is a storyline here. It's not like a repeating like Helldivers. It's really a campaign, actually, that you can play.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting when we were looking at the data, it's almost like once a year there is this big spike. And of course, that's attached to a big chunk of DLC if it's $40, $50. Which, back to the life service, and I know Destiny has a lot more things going on in it, but I'm happy that we can see that. And I mean, isn't that a sustainable business to have like one big chunk of content coming out once a year or so? Can we go back to that? Is that a healthy life service strategy or business?
It's not like nothing is happening between, right? They just have a traditional events and on a smaller scale. So I don't know. The seasons are shorter. I think within a year you would have 3 or 4 seasons probably.
Well, I think it comes back to sort of what you were talking about, Manu, about the fact that this is like narrative campaign stuff, which is, I think, obviously the big expansion, you want to come back and see new features and that kind of thing. But they've done a really good job getting people invested in the world and its characters. So you're gonna the yearly expansion is generally when that big story moves forward. The other ones interact with it too. but they're around the edges, and it really pushes for it. So people want to see what's going to happen, and I think that speaks to how successful they were with that.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let me move over to the next item because I'm actually a bit surprised because I thought this studio was either has folded or was folding. But the story is that PAL World maker Pocket Pair to publish Tales of Kanzara Studios' next game.
Wild, yeah.
Is it wild? Or
They
what can you tell about
they
that?
only laid off 12 people from the studio, so the studio is not over, and that's probably new. It's gonna help them. I think it's interesting because Pocket Pair, which is the developer of Paul World, has just become a publisher, if I'm not mistaken.
I guess they have a lot. They got some money, and that's what they're doing with it. You know.
Yeah, which is good, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's cool. I think that they seem to have a good like philosophical notion that like they're here to make some weird stuff, and they're happy that it worked. You know, basically.
Yeah. So again, good news.
Can you remind me? Pocket Pair were Korean?
Japanese, I think.
Japanese, yes.
Okay, interesting.
So good news because we're gonna need good news when we go to the trends.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, do we know how did Pocket Pair start? Do we have any information about their like background, who they are?
Started small, for sure. Then we can just.
It says here that they were working on DS still at Nintendo, or maybe that's just one person, the CEO.
But they started in 2019, and they did only these kind of similar games, right? Craftopia was also a version of Paul World, where you basically would enslave minions to do stuff. I think they just It was founded in 2015 and launched first game in 2019. And it's interesting because their first game was called Over Dungeon and was combining the element of Slay the Spire and Clash Royale. So
They're doing this kind of thing.
Combining
Yeah.
which works,
Yeah.
right?
No, it does. Well, like a lot of people do it, right? And sometimes it works better than others, and they seem to be doing it with their own kind of wackiness, which I think is the key.
It is really cool. Thank you, gentlemen. I'll move over to the next item then. Long gone classics, The Sims 1 and 2, finally coming back to PC. Did they go somewhere else?
They went.
Where were they?
They disappeared, then they're back. Been impossible to play The Sims.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. And so there are two angles here. One angle is just it's the 25th anniversary of The Sims, so it's great to celebrate the classic because I think we've heard also about My Sims. I don't know if there was any announcement, but there were rumors about My Sims.
Is
Yeah.
My Sims, Cozy Bundle, Identity, So there's a lot of stuff happening with the Sims IP right now, except a new game. So I don't know. What's the strategy here?
I mean, they have announced that the strategy is more Sims 4, which that's an interesting case of a single player live service game. They just found stuff for the Sims 4, and a lot of people are playing the Sims 4, so I think it's working out.
Yeah.
You know, guys, how we usually go through these moments or trends or spaces where, if you remember, like especially I think around PS5 launch, we got a lot of remaster. Like there was an era there, like a lot. Do we think like is EA going through that maybe, or generally speaking, where do you think we are in terms of like remasters and remakes and all that stuff?
I cannot comment.
Dave. Give us your crystal ball.
I feel like we saw the peak of that, but it's kind of there's no reason to slow it down, right? It's a safer bet than releasing a new game, and releasing a new game is a massive risk. So people are gonna continue to. There's still plenty of fruit out there. They've done a lot of the big ones, but there's plenty of spaces to go. If you go towards older things, like we saw with Resident Evil, you do need to do a lot more work to make it modern. But conversely, you get a bigger headline because you have sort of made a new game. So I think this is a permanent feature of the video game industry until everything is remade and remastered.
Yeah,
We love
absolutely.
our.
I think looking in a wider angle, you have more and more studios specialized in this porting, like remaster games. So you have that availability on the market instantly. You just have to port your IP. You save money because of that, because of you don't need the creative process anymore. So it's cheaper to learn, and it's a safe road. So yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that we are going that way. It's not very exciting that we keep having the same games and IPs again and again. But this is the world we are living in. I think you can see that everywhere else.
Yeah, it's happening in movies and everything too. Arguably music, like we're reaching sort of a cultural singularity.
Okay, gentlemen, I'll move over to the next item because speaking of mods, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth sets highest Steam peak for series single-player games. So director says mods can breathe life into games.
Sure.
I was assuming, like when I was getting into this news story, that I would get the same type of image that we had with Hogwarts Legacy. But what is Final Fantasy doing when it comes to mods? Do you know?
I think it's actually good trend for a number 2 in a trilogy. Because the concept initially was that you have the excitement for the first one of the. I mean, it's not a trilogy, 3 part of a remake. You have the excitement because it's been years and years we had talked about Final Fantasy VII remake. Then I think maybe some people are a bit disappointed because it's only one part of the story, it's not the full game. And then the second one comes, and the third one is planned. So some player might be, well, I'm gonna wait the third one and play everything together. There's no reason for me to jump, and I have to wait again. But seeing these numbers is actually not bad, right? And
Yeah, because I know that they missed their forecast, but maybe those forecasts were overly optimistic.
they always do.
Yeah,
That's the thing. But it's PC only, right? I'm not sure on console it was that good, and high concurrent player it can be a short-lived positive message. Yeah,
Absolutely.
good.
Yeah. Okay.
We
Let's
take
move
it.
over to the time. Oh yeah. Sorry.
In these days, we'll take it. Anything that showing health, we'll take it.
We're inching closer and closer to the trends. I haven't even looked at them. But okay, last item on the news then. Xbox Developer Direct 2025. Everything announced. So was there something I missed recently? Tell me what's going on with this.
I just reading. So Ninja Gaiden 4. I'm not an expert at all in this IP. And then they've announced the release date of Doom: The Dark Ages, which is coming soon, 15th of May.
Yeah, all right. I'm excited about that one. I like they really seem to be switching it up. That Eternal was all about moving fast, and this was all about moving slow.
Yes, I'm curious to see also.
Yeah.
And go.
Sorry,
Ninja Gaiden's an interesting one because, before Dark Souls, it was one of the ones with the reputation for intense difficulty, and so, and obviously Team Ninja has done stuff since. So I'll be curious to see if they can kind of regain that place in the conversation now that it's a much larger conversation.
I remember back in the Xbox days, specifically, Ninja Gaiden was it was that game. It was the Dark Souls of that platform. And I believe it was exclusive to that platform at the time as well. Was there an event that I missed with Xbox, by the way? Did they announce multiple games, or?
No, not just a developer direct. I mean, this is not a big event. I just put it there. It's not.
Oh,
It's not
Platinum game.
because it's very
Sorry, Manu.
Oh yeah,
It's
right. It was
made by
Platinum.
Platinum.
Yeah, cool.
I mean, who doesn't want another? I was going to say, come again?
Bayonetta.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
Bayonetta with a dude.
Oh, you saw that? You saw the sliding? It's
Oh, look like there's a little kind of Jedi style platforming course.
Way more mobility than a Dark Soul, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's on dynamic. Cool. Why not?
Yeah, I'm into it.
This looks pretty cool, actually. It reminds me there was a lot of mechanics from what's that game called? The sci-fi game where you're like you have a mech suit and you can slide and do these things. Something with V, I believe.
Revengeance? Metal Gear Rising?
No. That's a game we should probably pretend it never happened.
Why? That was cool.
I'll try and remember it at the same time. I mean, Platinum, I haven't seen that name in a very long time, so I'm really happy that something's happening from that studio. Okay, so I mean, there is a link here. So the other two games that are mentioned in this are South of Midnight, and then there is another one called Claire Obscure, Expedition 33. Oh, one more. Doom: The Dark Ages. Is that a re-release?
That's exactly what I just explained, is that they just announced the release date.
Yeah, no, that's a new game.
I thought that was out already. Okay, we'll move over to the trends, my friends. Okay. Sorry, come again?
What? Yeah, there's some clinking. There's some clinking.
Okay.
That's
Phoenix
it.
Labs,
That's fun.
my friends. Okay, the makers of Gauntlets, I believe.
Oh, okay. Gauntlet.
Yeah, we'll help you clean up the background noise. Don't worry about that, Dave.
We'll
figure that out.
We are doing what we can, as we always do.
Yes, sir. But okay, to go back to it, Phoenix Labs lays off majority of studio 2 years after Fort Labs acquisition.
That's too bad.
I put a link also specifically about Dauntless. So I think I remember hearing about that. They released an update in December. They basically killed their game.
Ripped it up. Yeah, that was a weird thing that happened with that. It was a cool. I played it for a little while. It was a cool, much more approachable Monster Hunter.
Yeah, you can check the chat. Otherwise, there is a read about what happened, what went wrong with the mechanics, monetization. So they basically made all their audience very angry, and I think this was like a death sentence, which shows how quickly you can things can get out of control, right? When you're a small studio.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you have to be really close to your audience and listen to.
Yeah, but I mean, they released that early December, and now they are almost shutting down. I think it's very short notice, so I'm not sure.
If everyone left and they didn't, I mean, I'm assuming they made those decisions also because not because everything was going great.
Yes,
and so yeah, it could easily have tipped the scale.
It's maybe they were going down and they were hoping that they would change trajectory with that update, and it didn't happen. But yes, another one bites the dust.
Manu, I think this next item I would like to slot in. It's not on your list, but it does affect some people that I used to work with. Fast Travel Games. I think it's the number one publisher, maybe, or at least the top publisher on VR games. They unfortunately are, facing troubles, and I think it's affecting 30 people that they're potentially laying off.
Well, I mean, the top publisher of VR games has to be Meta, right?
Yeah, that's I think betting solely on VR is a risky bet. Let's put it that way.
I mean, they've been operating for almost 8 years straight and just growing and publishing more games and all that stuff, which is But I mean, when it comes to VR specifically, what is the takeaway there?
It's actually surprising because it feels like the VR install base has never been bigger than it is now, right? Thanks to the launch of the MetaQuest 3S, it feels like it's getting more healthy. So it's a bit sad to see that one of the most important developer in that space has to. They are not shutting down, right? They are just cutting workforce. But yeah, again.
Dave, sorry for muting you there. You'll probably have to.
Yep, there we go. I've unmuted.
Yeah. Just trying to. Any comments about VR, Dave?
Nope.
Nope. We'll move over to the next item then. And thank you for adding that to your list, Manu. Ubisoft announces studio closure as it lays off 185 staff. Is that the Stockholm thing? Because I know that in Stockholm specifically, some people are affected.
Not only Germany, Düsseldorf, and UK, so Leamington. But that's 1%, less than 1% of the workforce probably. So that's not that much.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just trying to keep house while they can. I mean, man, everything's coming down to Assassin's Creed for that thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they mentioned that Ubisoft Stockholm had worked on avatars, and I don't know if a new Avatar game is planned. I've not heard about any more Avatar games. Why they've been there was a second movie, they're probably going to be a third movie.
Yeah.
Third movie.
I'm trying to find the upcoming game.
Assassin's Creed. There is one upcoming game.
Well, I know it says here.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Cool. Yeah. I mean that'll do well. That like Anno 1800 is awesome, and I feel like the Anno community is just kind of super jazzed to do another one. For one thing, so I'm in the Anno Discord, and just check it every once in a while. I've never received a notification from them ever. I received one notification that the mod decided to push to everyone in the Discord. It's just like, guys, I know this is not really what we do, but everyone needs to know that there are going to be curved roads.
My feeling about Anno historically is that it's a well-maintained IP.
Yeah, I think that's right. And it's a good game. They're not trying to do anything besides be Anno with it. And I think that what I've seen, for one thing, the curved roads in the new one, huge deal. And excited to see where else they're going to go with it.
Is this sound on my side or? Yep. Sorry about that. Goddamn IGN. Sorry. I'll move over to the next item then, friends. So Mass Effect 5. There's a Mass Effect 5. BioWare doesn't require support from the full studio. EA moves some staff to other teams. But wait a second. There's a Mass Effect 5?
Well, they're working on it.
Yes.
They've told me
they've played that a long time ago. Yes.
Okay.
And there was a Mass Effect 4, but it was called Andromeda.
Yeah.
Some people might skip that one, or like don't remember about Andromeda as being more.
Yeah, that one we're trying to pretend it didn't exist, but I'm hoping that the next Mass Effect actually brings back what Mass Effect used to be. So wish them the best on that. But I guess just on this story specifically, they're just trying to say that they're moving people around to support other studios, etc., or projects. Mm-hmm. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, it's usually not a great sign, right? Because that's the only BioWare game they probably have in the pipeline, and they are just saying right now we're not even going full steam. If you compare, for example, with a project, what is it? CD Projekt, where they say, okay, now we stop Cyberpunk and we go full steam ahead for The Witcher 4. It doesn't feel like it's the same strategy here.
Yeah, I mean, we know that based on the news last week that Veilguard underperformed, so this does seem related to
that. But I mean, okay, so just so I understand, because I feel like I'm a bit slow today. So are we saying that Mass Effect 5 or the next Mass Effect is like coming to to a gold stage or release stage?
No.
No,
No.
they just
No.
released Dragon Age. They've
We're-
released Dragon Age Helga.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's finished. The next one is Mass Effect 5, which has been teased. But they are nowhere near finishing. They are just saying
Oh.
we're more like the pre-production of the game, and we don't need a full team. So
Yeah.
they are
This is just a messaged
Yeah.
layoff. Is what this is.
yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you for clarifying, gentlemen. Then I'll move over to the next item. Gears of War E-Day. Okay. People Can Fly announced as co-developer to the next Gears of War. Is that a fully fledged Gears of War game?
Seems like
Yeah.
prequel.
Yes, prequel.
Yeah, E-Day in the lore is when the locusts come out of the ground. Emergence Day is what it stands for.
And by the way, like just so I can ask about Gears of War is still owned by Microsoft. Is that correct? Or is it?
For sure.
Mhm.
I don't know why I can't play this thing. Do we care about Gears of War, by the way?
Microsoft does.
Yeah, Microsoft cares about what it's got. You know,
Yeah.
Gears is one of them.
Okay, because here's the point I'm trying to drive. Like, okay, so what was the last Halo? Was it 4?
No, it was Infinite.
Infinite, yeah.
And I feel like it came, and then for whatever reason, somebody thought it would be a good idea to attach all the modern live service stuff to it. But in any case, I feel like it came, it went, we moved on with our lives. It didn't make any splash, like similar to back in the day when Halo was the shits, right?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't very good. That was the problem.
Sorry, come again?
It wasn't
Wasn't
great.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was released as an hybrid, right? Single player paid campaign available in the Game Pass, and then free to play multiplayer.
Yeah.
So when we look at Gears of War, do we feel like this is heading potentially to a similar fate, or is there hope?
I think it's
It depends
definitely
if the single player campaign is good, right? I mean, this could be a successful, but it's gonna be more of a single player, maybe a bit of co-op. But Gears of War has always been more single player experience, so we know the limitation of the single player market right now.
Yeah, I would be curious to see, because Gears of War is also where we get hard mode from, right? So if they will maybe push some PvE, which is less competitive than PvP at the moment, and I think that's an area for growth. And Gears of War would be, I think, well geared to do it. If we look at Space Marine and Helldivers, both successful PvE games, I think they definitely both have Gears DNA in them. And I could see them trying to push that forward. I think it would still be a paid single player is tip the spear, absolutely. But I could see them pushing PvE for a live service.
And I think the problem with Gears of War is too slow, right? The movement is very slow compared to some other games, which makes it more challenging to beat for competitiveness and just to reach a wider audience. Last time I played that's how I felt. So when you have like slow gameplay, you think more about single player than multiplayer.
Gentlemen, I will add as well on this specific story when it comes to People Can Fly. Their last project, I believe, was the Outriders. And I feel like this, if you want to call it a cooperation or a co-development, makes a lot of sense to me, at least.
Mm-hmm. They might be working on the multiplayer part or the co-op or the shooter-looter part, if any. Yeah.
Cool. Then last item on the trends is Elliot Page developing Beyond Two Souls TV show. Is that also a Sony IP, or is that still owned by what's that French studio?
Quantic Dream, yes.
Quantic Dream, yeah.
Yeah. So another TV show potentially happening. I mean, they have announced plans, right? So early development might be cancelled back then. Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, then
See?
we don't have any rumors today.
No.
I like how
Enough
you
news.
wrote. I like how you wrote no rumors. Maybe we should make some shit up.
I want to make sure people understand that I didn't find rumors and not that I forgot to add rumors. That's more my point.
Please insert rumor.
Yes.
Okay, then, gentlemen, I'll move over to the numbers. Silent Hill 2 again. Silent Hill 2 remake shipments and digital sales top 2 million. Oh, okay. That's is that okay? Is that an
No,
okay number?
that's depressing.
That's too, especially because it received so much critical acclaim. That
Yeah,
sucks.
good game, good IP,
Yeah.
2 million copies.
I was expecting a bit more because all the
Yeah.
hype and talk that I was hearing for the
Yeah.
last, yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, a game like Control, Control, Game of the Year, very good game. It was not released on Steam, and it did like 3.5 million units or something. I mean, even the best single player game, which is not open world, is kind of struggling to make 5 million copies at this point. That's the reality we are in, right? No wonder we don't see many AAA single player games anymore. Only games like
Yeah.
Resident Evil or Star Wars game, even if you could argue that Jedi Survivor is more of an open world game, but the single player corridor games, this is just
Yeah. Lot of money for less return.
yeah.
Gentlemen, I want to show you something that I was reading this morning. And bear with me, trying to figure out how to share this, as it's a screen grab here. Let's see. Is it this one that I want? Did you see this post on LinkedIn by Bertrand Vernizau, who is the CEO investment partner at GameSeer? But what's interesting here for me is so this is data from the Steam 2024 top selling and paid games or playing
Mm-hmm.
games, and you can see from 2014 to 2024, the split of I assume this is this monies or top 200 best newcomers, and I assume this means most played. So bear with us as we are looking at it. But from 2014, you have AAA games, almost double as much as indies, and now to 2024, it's completely flipped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you had a chance to look at this? Any thoughts about this?
People are making a
No.
lot more indie games than they
I
used to.
think it might not mean that there are less AAA games. It might mean that there are more indie games actually. So higher probability.
And also distribution has a big, in 2014, physical retail is still a massive part of how people are acquiring games, and AAA has a huge advantage there. That's not the case anymore.
But just to go back then to is the type of game that, I mean, the Silent Hill, two types of games, and let's just disregard the genre itself, because any genre of that size of game or type of game, is that not a viable business anymore in our industry?
With the production costs, it becomes very challenging, right? I mean, when you see even Spider-Man 2, I think barely made it from a contribution standpoint. I need you need to be God of War level at this point to really be still make it work. I think unless you have a very much lower budget and then you come with a formula that's gonna work. But otherwise, yes, I think it's. I think Doom. That's why Doom will be very interesting. I think Doom will really show what the one of the best IPs in that genre, the single player corridor games, can do.
And I think they might do a better job keeping costs down because they're much more about creating interesting play spaces and not so much about set pieces.
Yeah.
There was an article not so long ago about if you compare Naughty Dog and the amount of people that worked on Uncharted 2, I think it was like 250 or something like that, and then versus The Last of Us 2, which had maybe, I think, 600 people. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was vastly more people working on. But in my takeaway is Now I know it's different genres and different types of games here, but from a quality perspective, from a fun perspective, from a banging for your buck perspective, uh, The Last of Us 2 wasn't better than Uncharted 2. Do you know what I mean?
Apparently, from a fun perspective, Last of Us, I don't
Yeah.
think I'd describe as fun. But yeah, no, it's a troubling trend. It takes you got to sprint just to stay in place.
But Uncharted 2, really high quality. Even if you go back to it today, there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
You can always push the visual fidelity. But what I'm trying to ask or get to is, why are we ballooning up these budgets and these teams when we had a lot of fun with these? And I can imagine if you boot up Uncharted 2 today, it's still as good as it always has been, and it probably plays really well.
Yeah, I mean, video game industry made a deal with the devil when it came to graphical fidelity, and it takes a lot of people, it takes a lot of money, and it made a lot of money for a little while. But at a certain point, that scale tipped, and like the kids, they don't care about graphics. I don't really care about graphics anymore.
Yeah, I mean that's very evident, obviously, from Roblox and Fortnite.
Yep.
But do we feel like that type of game, because, and I'm asking this specifically just because it's my favorite type of, like, if it's Uncharted, if it's like, The Last of Us, or if it's like, we were speaking about Beyond Two Souls, etc., Silent Hill 2. Do you think we can get to a healthy position with these types of games, or do these types of games have a future even?
No.
Yeah, I think they not these expensive ones.
Yeah, I think the attention span also is playing a role, right? I'm not sure you can do a 15-minute session of this kind of game neither. So the way you consume them is more challenging. You need to sit, you need to be in a good environment to play that. Probably need also a good setup. Not in the bus, right? You wouldn't play that kind of game in the bus or in the train. So I think that's not helping.
Well, if you look at the like I feel like I'm the core demographic for it, right? And when all of these huge sort of genre-defining ones came out, me and my rest of my cohort were in college or young adults with less commitments, and you're not really selling this to these younger people those days. You're selling this to me, and we have a lot less time to do this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I agree on that a lot. And I mean, on the next item that we have here, and interesting enough, I'll give you a note and then I'll let you guys comment. So Indiana Jones and the Great Circle has been played by more than 4 million players. Let me know if this is only Xbox or if this is PC and Xbox. But also, what's interesting, I booted up that game. It's free on Xbox Game Pass. And played for like 2 hours, and then I didn't have the time or energy to go back.
Yeah.
There you go.
But I will say, obviously, I was in the mode of trying to finish Elden Ring. But tell me, what can we learn about this news piece?
It's not free because it's on Game Pass. Nothing is free on Game Pass.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not free.
It felt free.
Free once you pay for it.
We had a discussion with a few friends on that one. If it was a premium game, 4 million in one month would be amazing numbers. Excluding PlayStation, let's not forget it's not on PlayStation yet. But it's Game Pass, and I was just looking. So it was released on Game Pass PC, Game Pass Xbox. It was released also on Steam. And when I look at the Steam number, the game peaked at 12,000 players at launch. If you compare Silent Hill 2, peaked at 24,000, so double that. Resident Evil 4 did 168,000, so more than 15 times more. And Final Fantasy Rebirth did 40,000. So by that you can tell that it didn't sell very well on PC, on Steam, as a, I would say, incremental revenue to the Game Pass revenue that is supposed to be generating for Microsoft. So yeah, if you can survive with the Microsoft Store, the Xbox Store on PC, I think there's no question that you don't buy that game at $60. You just play it on the Game Pass for $10 or $5, depending on the promotion they do on the Game Pass. It's
Yeah.
a game that you can finish in 1 month. It doesn't exclude that ultimately you will buy it when it's $10, right? To have it in your library, because some people really like to have games in the library. But other than that, it's very, very challenging. It's not a live service game. It's not an RPG. There is zero replayability to that game. So it's normal that it's difficult to sell it outside of Game Pass. So looking at the numbers, I would be surprised if 10% of that 4 million is actually outside of the Game Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm actually playing Metaphor Refantasio, so I showed some of those numbers, but it seems like all these games almost are following the same trend, which is a bit unfortunate for us who enjoy these types of experiences. But gentlemen, I'll move over to the last item on the list. On the numbers, Apex Legends lost 70% of its Steam players in 2024. Now, on that note, and actually, I'll bring up the my screen as well, just to go back to SteamDB. Is this accurate? Because I remember Apex Legends is a top 5, top 10 game on Steam.
Is it still?
That's what what we've been. I mean, it has dropped now, but it had this up and down.
So the
Over
reason
the
I
years.
put that, the reason I put that is not really to talk about Apex. It's all like some press outlet. They were just looking for the clicks, right? But the reality is that
Yeah.
it's down
It was
versus
Paul. That's why.
it's down versus its peak of February. And there is always a peak in February because Apex has this anniversary event every single year. So every single year, Apex will be down versus its peak of February. What is interesting to look at is where was it on the 31st of December 2023 compared to this year. And if you look at that, we are talking about 50% decrease. So that's still a lot, but it's not 70%. So there is a downward trend for Apex, but it's a bit not great to compare that to the beginning of the year, right? That's just all I wanted to say. But then, yeah, I think Apex was released in 2019. We are in 2025. We have not seen the kind of not reboot, but the reinvigoration of the game, of the IP. It has been like, I think it's season 23, right? It's very boring that you end up season 23. You're just piling up the season. There is not like a meta story like Fortnite has been able to create, for example. Call of Duty is a different story, Warzone, because every year there is a new premium game. Overwatch had a reboot with Overwatch 2. So Apex is one of PUBG. Yeah, PUBG is I think is focusing mostly also on the mobile game right now. Yeah, to be curious to see this. Still very successful, right?
Yeah, I mean,
So I would say there is something probably in Apex that doesn't, and actually it's going up since 2024 if you look at it. If you look at the last
Stop,
3 years.
stop muting me, Casey.
sorry. I mean, there was a lot of background noise. That's why.
Oh, right, of course.
Apologies.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's an interesting lesson that the seasonal division is really good for short term, for kind of structuring your month to month play, but that you do need larger divisions that are traditionally held by retail releases. But you don't get to not do that because you have a free to play release.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to Apex or PUBG, are they doing anything specific that is bringing people back, or is it just still the same battle royale experience?
It's still the same. There are new legends, obviously, but it's kind of more of the same. There has not been like a big change. They would have this PvP modes, some variation of that, but there's not be anything that's really that would bring new players. I think that's the biggest challenge probably is to bring new players. Why would you jump in? And yeah, and the other problems, of course, all the sweats are playing Apex, right? The one that are still playing are the one that you don't want to play against. So it creates it's not fun, I guess, as a newbie. while again, I think Fortnite does a really good job making sure that you are in bot lobbies when you start Fortnite. So it gives you a boost of self-confidence by having a lot of bots in your first game. You usually win your first game at Fortnite. That's perfect confidence. Perfect.
Yeah, I remember when they started doing that. That was the whole thing.
Yeah. So I mean, I have so many things to say about Fortnite, but probably not today. Because I reached, oh yes, I can say that. I reached elite level in
All
Novice.
right.
Yes. And it's such a different game at that level compared to playing unranked, and which also very, very interesting. And I'm not even playing in build, I'm playing in non-build.
Yeah. You're too old still.
I think maybe the basic unranked experience in Apex is already very challenging. That's why you might have or maybe you have people that will download the game, play a few games, they will be like, wow, there's no way. I have no time. I cannot up my game so that I will match the players that they've been playing for a while.
I mean, to be honest, I'm actually very surprised that Apex and PUBG are still retaining that many people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's still a battle royale, right? I know a lot of people like to say that battle royale is dead or it's fading away, but it's not, right?
PUBG has been consistently top 3 on Steam for the past 2 years, at least, to what I've seen.
And it's been 8 years, right? It's going to be 8 years this year. So I think it's accepting that it's there and that it's staying there rather than hoping that it's going to fade out, because it's not. And it's even, games like Helldivers and some other games, they come and they go, and the audience is not fully shifting. There are so many people that have these battle royale games as their lifestyle games or black hole games. I also like that concept.
Yeah.
Games that will suck everything, all your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult right now.
Manu, I will add a couple more on that list of they will always be there, to me at least, which are Stardew Valley.
Mm-hmm. Counter-Strike, obviously.
Yep.
Which one? What else did we have? I mean, you have the DayZ and the Rust. They're always like top 10, top 15, 20.
Rust is also a game we don't talk a lot.
Yeah, Rust's cool.
It's there, right? Cool. It's kind of a survival game, but with PvP. I think it's quite interesting. I think one we never talk about, except when I talk about it, it's Naraka Blade Point.
Yep.
Nobody talks about that one. It's always
that's in top 10 for the past year.
Yeah.
You know which one, Manu, just rose up a bit, I think this week or last week? Warframe.
Oh, yeah. Good old Warframe. Definitely a black hole game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they keep adding content. They've added so much stuff. This is what it takes, right? To keep your player base. This is what it takes. And it's not something that Apex has brought, right? They've not brought like a true PvE mode, like permanent PvE, or even a single player campaign or something like that. So I think that's the problem, is that when each new season is kind of a carbon copy of the previous one, just the hero, the weapon rotation, the maps, I think it's challenging to renew your audience.
There's a formula.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, I think we have reached the end of today's show. If you don't have anything else you'd like to add or share,
I think we're good.
We're good. Of course, thank you for tuning in and listening. And gentlemen, thank you so much for breaking things down. Really cool stuff. Guysweekly.substack.com. Please subscribe. You can also just Google or search on YouTube Game Industry Executive Summary. You'll find us. Please do support us with all the likes and shares and all the things that make the show better. And with that being said, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.